Well, the immediate future before a sale is pretty grim, to be honest with you. They can't really bring in any revenue at the moment, and that includes operational revenue. So if there weren't to be a sale, it's probably got 3 weeks max. So they're reliant on a sale. So that's got to be the focus now. They've got to sell the club, and that would go a long way to alleviating the problems.
Who are some of those names at the moment that are throwing their hats in the ring?
Okay, so at the moment we know that Todd Boehly, who is the part owner of the LA Dodgers, he's made a bid of between $2 billion and $2.5 billion. There's the Ricketts family, another American, and Woody Johnson, who owns the New York Jets. They seem to be the front runners. Nick Candy, a British businessman who I believe is here today, season ticket holder, he's made public the fact that he wants to make a bid. And Rain, the merchant bank, who are in charge of the sale for Roman Abramovich, they say that they've had interest from over 200 parties at the moment.
There's been some conversation about fan ownership as well. Jamie, how important and how realistic would it be to have fan ownership in a club like Chelsea?
Well, I think it's difficult. You go back to the fallout of the Super League, really, and I think a lot of clubs reached out to supporters then, whether that was just a PR exercise at that time. There was talk of fans getting more involved in clubs. In terms of fans owning a club, I think it's very difficult. I think we talk about it a lot, but whether it could happen in reality, I'm not sure. But there's no doubt fans should have a say in how their clubs are run. But if you're talking about a new owner coming in at Chelsea and spending, I don't know, £2 billion to acquire the club, and then the supporters involved who stop them maybe making certain decisions, what they feel is in the right interest of the club, that's where I think you have a problem. So I think there's got to be a nice balance between the two, but I think it's difficult to fans to completely own a club.
Whatever does happen, whichever way it goes, Jamie, do you feel like it's the end of a Chelsea that we've come to know for the last 20 years?
I think it'd be difficult to replicate what Chelsea have done the last 20 years. They've been the most successful team, won most trophies under Roman Abramovich. And to get an owner who was prepared to basically write off losses and not try and make a profit, almost every owner who comes in, no matter how much revenue he has, they want to make a few quid out of it at the end when they move it on. And that's what made him different. And that's one of the big reasons why Chelsea was so successful.
Matt, are there any potential stumbling blocks now to get a sale over the line?
Well, the big thing is that they have to get government approval now. So there's a deadline of Friday for bids to come in. Once they pick the preferred bidder, it will go to the government, and they have to give their approval both to the proposed buyer and also to where the funds are going to go. And then after that, it will go into the normal fit and proper persons test that the Premier League do. So getting through the government is the next big hurdle.
Jamie, in terms of the players going out to focus on the game today and Thomas Tuchel and getting this all forward thinking, the only thing that is very sure is that everything is so up in the air at the moment and there is no certainty anywhere you look.
No, there's not. But as I said before, I think Thomas Tuchel's come out to this really well. I think he's handled it really well. And the players, won at Norwich, but you'd expect them, in sort of any circumstances, to win at Norwich. This will be a tougher proposition, but it will be really interesting how this affects Chelsea's season in terms of finishing the top four. I think the title's too far away, but they are still involved in other competitions and big competitions. They are the European holders as well. So it'll be really interesting how they do in those competitions, because this could affect them.
Matt, finally, you spoke about a time frame earlier on. How quickly could a new ownership get over the line?
Well, like I say, the deadline's on Friday, so assuming they decide on a preferred bidder then, the actual process for an owner to be in situ, I can't imagine that you can do it quicker than 6 weeks in terms of them actually having the club. But in terms of it moving forward and knowing who the next owner might be or the preferred owner will be, hopefully they'll know within the next week to 10 days.